everybody, this is Robin with Creative2xmom, and today's video is going to be all about my top 10 books from 2020. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin and this is Creative2xmom. This channel is all about homeschooling, parenthood, and thriving in the day-to-day. And lately I have been on a string of doing videos about really good books. Now I know we're already into 2021, I'm a little bit late. This video probably won't be going up until the end of January or the beginning of February, but I just couldn't let it go by without a chance to tell you about my top 10 books from 2020. So I broke it up into five top fiction books and 5 top non-fiction books. I'm going to start with the fiction, and unfortunately I think most of these books really came from the library, so I'm hoping they are readily available to you. They either came from the library or I think they were Kindle version books, so they should be really easy for you to find if you get interested at all. I'm going to start with the top 5 fiction books, and if you see me looking down, it's because I want to refer to my list to make sure I get this. The first one was The English Daughter. Now, I love Cindy Woodsmall's work. She is probably my favorite Amish fiction writer. You will see a lot of Amish fiction in my book reviews. That's because they are easy stories to fall into. In this case, we have the story of a couple who goes through this tragic accident, and the husband is sort of, for a while he's paralyzed, it sounds like, and he gets addicted to painkillers while his wife's not there. There's a night that he blacks out and he doesn't remember what's happened, and sort of the consequences and the fallout of all of that comes rushing back in on this family as they have to unravel this mystery to save their marriage. It was a storyline that I've never seen in Amish fiction before, and it really explored a lot of the heartache and the character issues that would come with a situation like that. But it had the hope of course, things are tied up at the end, so you see the struggle and the character that is built and how these people have to dig really deep to save their marriage. Like I said, it was a storyline that I've never seen explored before, and definitely not seen explored in this way, where they really work through what's going on because their marriage just is that important to them. Really, really good book. She is head and shoulders my absolute favorite Amish fiction writer. The next book was called The Hope of Refuge. Again, another great Cindy Woodsmall book. I had to laugh when I went back and I looked at the authors of my top books, because you see a consistent theme of who wrote what I really, really love. This is a part of a series of 3. So once you start reading the first one, then you will definitely want to hang on and read through the series. This is one that's been out for a while, so it should be easy to find at your local library. My third book was a huge surprise, and that was the Boundless. I think the author is Kenneth Apple. Now, I picked this one up in the children's section. I was pre-reading it for my 4th grader, and I hardly got into the book at all, and I thought, oh no, this is not for him. He's a pretty sensitive little guy, and he loves trains, but the deeper that we got into the story of this mysterious Bigfoot-like creature and how kind of scary it really was, I realized that this was not going to be a book that I was going to put in his hands. But for me, it was really good. It goes through that golden age of the railroad and this little boy who's going to meet his father. He gets to see the golden spike drove in. But there's also this mystery behind the train and a boxcar that no one is allowed into that is apparently very luxurious, very opulent, and then this creature that is sort of stalking them throughout the entire book. I was surprised this one made it on the list, but it was actually really good. Number 4 in my fiction list is Gold Rush Girl. This is by Avi. Now, I received this book as a review. So I had the Kindle version and I read it for myself. And then in our Story of the World, we came around to reading the Gold Rush era again later on. And so I read it a second time as a read aloud with my kids. It was so good. Even the second time, I'm still sitting there reading to the kids and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? It's a family that loses their fortune back east and comes to California. It's a dad and two of his kids, and then the two kids are left on their own while he goes out to the gold field, and sort of the life that they have to make, again, wrapped up in mystery. I am a mystery girl. It's wrapped up in this whole mystery of a whodunit, and also this underlying current of dad's out in the gold fields and they have no connection to him. Is he ever going to make it back? Is mom ever going to make it from back east? And will they be reunited as a family? So good. The kids loved it. I loved it. Really great one. And then lastly, number 5 on my top fiction for 2020 was The Preacher's Daughter by Beverly Lewis. Beverly Lewis has been around forever. She's a very well-established author. You can find lots of her books at your local library. This was one of those books that if you saw my end of the month review, I said, I'm not really into this book. It just was kind of your typical formulaic, and when I did the review, I really believed everything I was saying. And but I still probably had about 75 pages left in that book, so I should have kept my mouth shut. Because once I got into that last little bit of the story, it really ramped up. And there was connections being made that I didn't see coming at all, things being revealed that there was no resolution to, people coming to light that you knew nothing about. And I read in that last probably 75 pages and thought, oh my gosh, I was totally wrong about this book. She had so many surprises near the end that I actually went on to read the entire series. I think the series is called Annie's People. There's 3 of them. That first one, so I will say I put the first one on my list because that sets the stage for everything, and you will start to read it and you'll probably think, oh, this really isn't that good. Why'd she recommend it? Hang in there. It'll get you in the end. So let's talk nonfiction. I have realized over the last year that I am loving nonfiction. I didn't think I would ever be a nonfiction girl, but I am absolutely loving it. So the first one in my list is called Raising Grateful Kids in an Entitled World by Kristen Welch. Now, if you saw my winter reading list that I posted just recently, I talked about how I'm going to read a different Kristen Welch book, but her line of books is a lot about her story and how her and her husband gave up everything to get involved in like single parenthood, maternity work overseas, and the adventure that it's taken not just the 2 of them on, but their kids as well, and how that's really broken their kids of a lot of the entitlement, a lot of the complacency that can come along with childhood at times, and how she has they've worked really hard to establish gratitude in their children. Really excellent book. Can't recommend it highly enough. The next book on my nonfiction is Atomic Habits. I don't remember who this one's by, but I was absolutely blown away at the quality of this book. And I am very much so a habits girl. I have certain touch points in my day that help me get things done, keep things organized and moving. And this book completely revolutionized the way I do things, really helped me focus in on the habits that were the most important. And I think that can change from season to season, but really focus in on establishing good habits that will last, that will focus on the most important things. Really phenomenal book. If you're looking for any sort of personal growth, there's not a lot of fluff, feel good in this, just good, solid ideas for getting you on the right track. Number 3 was The Prayer Saturated Family. And if you saw my resolutions for the next homeschool year, you'll see that prayer has really taken a focus. I talked about it a lot in my goals videos for 2020. I'm talking about it again now in my homeschool resolutions, and it definitely made my top 5 nonfiction books because of the way it lays out the importance of prayer and different habits, why you want to make them a habit as a family, what it does for your children, what it does for you, really making that, and not even just a touch point of your day, but a lifestyle for your family. This one was really, really good. I would definitely invest in this one if that's an area of focus for your family in the coming year. Number 4 was Awakening Wonder by Sally Clarkson. Now you guys know I love a good homeschool book. I feel like as a homeschooler, as a parent, we can never stop growing. There's always areas that we need to be growing in to reaching our kids. And this book I received for review from the publisher, just so you know, but I was blown away by how good it was. This was probably the best Sally Clarkson book that I have ever read. I have not read all of her work, but from what I have read, this was my favorite, head and shoulders. And she talked about how she really worked on bringing wonder back to her kids, because our kids have this innate sense of wonder about the world. They want to learn, they want to grow, and how to foster that and keep that growing in your homeschool, how to not lose that. I think this is a great book, not just for homeschoolers, but for parents in general, because we want to keep nourishing that. We want to keep cultivating that in our kids so that when they're either homeschooled or they go off into the public school, they're hungry for knowledge, they're hungry for learning. And that's so much of what this book taught me, is to just keep your kids hungry. The last book on my nonfiction list is Mere Motherhood by Cindy Rollins. Now this book has been around forever. I don't know what took me so long to read it. I finally discovered it at my local library. And so much of the book walks you through Cindy's journey as a mother, her journey in having kids, where they traveled to, how they lived, how she was constantly, again, bringing in wonder. They had animals, they renovated a house, they did music, and none of this stuff was all at the same time, but it was all pieces and bits of their journey and their life. And then in the end, she talks a lot about sort of laying the feast of Charlotte Mason, the last several chapters, and why she found value in a lot of these pieces that we talk about in art and music and nature study, what the value was there, and how she awakened that wonder and that thirst for those things within her kids. Really good book. I don't know why I waited so long to get my hands on a copy of that one, but I was floored at just her life, her journey of motherhood, and how she has used that to really build a very healthy and growing homeschool. So that's my top 10 books from 2020. A little bit of fiction, a little bit of nonfiction. I hope you find something in there that sort of whets your appetite for a new book. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you're reading. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Oh, I'm also going to link down below my Goodreads account in case you want to explore any of these titles or anything else that I'm reading. I will be adding to it throughout the year. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.